extra point, the extra layer of this. Deion put a target on his team's back. Everything Deion has been doing has been putting a target on his team's back. Deion has been running out, and I'm talking about since February, when he held the team meeting and told, or January, whenever he went to Colorado and held the team meeting and told everybody, hit the transfer portal. I'm bringing Louis Vuitton here. I want 4- and 5-star kids here. I want the best here. When Deion did that, that's the process of putting a target on your team's back. When Deion came out week 1 after beating TCU and saying, oh, I'm about to get comfortable up in here, and everybody's threatening, frustrated, a black coach leading the locker room with 75% black players. Deion racialized this whole thing and put a target on his team's back.
Later.
Really do.
Coach, you mentioned the coaching aspect of it as well.
Yes, sir.
Specifically with the offensive line, I mean, what has to improve in that aspect besides from
The line has to improve. It ain't no aspect. The line has to improve.
That's in terms of the big picture, trying to keep Shador upright, healthy, and overall.
The big picture, you go get new linemen. That's the picture, and I'm going to paint it perfectly.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about a story that I find to be fascinating, and there's a few questions that I have that I think that are not being asked when it comes to this situation about the Colorado football players who are alleging that their jewelry was stolen from the locker room during a game against UCLA. Police are investigating. Now, the Colorado football team, who has been in the news a lot because they're being coached by Deion Sanders, who has brought a lot of attention to the team, some of it good, some of it bad. But this team started off red hot at the beginning of the season, knocking down a highly ranked TCU team, going on to win more games until they actually faced some real competition. And they've essentially been probably, I would say, mediocre at best ever since then. And they now have a 4-4 record, okay? And they're on a 2-game losing streak. And I think that there's a whole lot of questions to be asked about what's going on at Colorado and how these players are carrying themselves, because they have carried themselves in ways that I would say you could call arrogant, okay? You could say it's cocky, it's flashy, and that flashiness comes with consequences. And I would say at least one of the consequences is that you're going to get everybody's A game. Every time a team plays you, they're going to give you their best because they want to knock you down because of how arrogant this team seems to be. What you mean? It matches the head coach's personality, Deion Sanders' personality, who I'm rooting for, by the way, because I know that there are people that are going to, say, oh, you're a hater, for levying constructive criticism at Deion Sanders and this Colorado football team that, again, I think is a good lesson for any young person growing up to watch this football team, the rise and fall of it, and how you probably should not be arrogant and you probably shouldn't carry yourself in a way that this football team is carrying themselves, especially considering how they haven't won anything yet. But again, I want to talk about this story right here that, again, it's fascinating for a couple of reasons because, again, these players got their jewelry stolen. They got their chain snatched during a football game against UCLA. Now, UCLA is in Los Angeles, California. And we know that California, Los Angeles, these are crime-infested hellholes because of the Democrats that are running this state, running these cities into the ground, okay? The criminals are allowed to steal whatever they want. They get a slap on the wrist. They get let out of jail. They can keep stealing. It's basically legal, right? So I'm not surprised to see Deion Sanders' team go to California with these expensive chains for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly why they would do this, but they go to California with these expensive chains, and then they get the chain snatched. So let's read about this, and I'm going to play a video of the players reacting to them getting their jewelry stolen, and then I'm going to get into this. So let's read here. Colorado and Deion Sanders headed back to California this past weekend for a game against UCLA at the Rose Bowl that ended in a loss. Following the game Saturday night, multiple Colorado players say they were victims of jewelry theft. In a video uploaded Sunday night, players were heard talking outside the stadium about some of their jewelry being stolen while they were on the field. One of the players is heard complaining that thieves stole their jewelry during the game, with them discussing how it could have happened. Outkick reached out to UCLA athletic department early Monday morning and received this response confirming a police investigation. Quote, the UCLA athletic department confirmed that a report was filed to the Pasadena Police Department following the UCLA Colorado football game regarding items that were reportedly missing from the Colorado locker room. UCLA is in communication with law enforcement, Rose Bowl stadium officials, and the University of Colorado on the matter. Outkick also reached out to Colorado late Sunday night, but they did not provide a statement at the time. All right, so let's actually watch this video of the Colorado football players reacting to their chains getting stolen.
So they're gonna get in touch with y'all in the locker room, bro.
During the game?
During the game, bro.
They stole the chain? Insane, bro. They stole yours? During the game.
You go play football, bro, and know your shit safe, dog. You're something messed up, bro.
During the game. Boys get back in the locker room, chain gone. Somebody broke into the locker room.
Nobody know shit, bro. Nobody know shit. Bro. Stop looking for some. Dang, bro. Bro. That's crazy. Dog.
You just got
my shit yesterday. Bro, shit crazy, bro. Yeah. I had to go check for me. Now my shit. My neck. You don't see me? I'm bullshit. I'm come out there. Yeah. Come out there.
Excuse me, brother.
Who down there? You had something to phone too? Yeah, no, I got me. Oh, you're good? Yeah, I put mine in my bag. I put mine in my bag. I just got to pump my bag.
on top of your
I'm
bag.
in the locker room, like, I can't put it in my bag. I can't put it in my bag.
Yesterday, I just got mine, bro. I had the jewelry box and everything, bro. They took it out my jewelry box.
Now, you seen that, you heard that. Most people are asking the question of how is there no security for the locker rooms with all the player stuff, right? How in the world did somebody get into the locker room to steal all this stuff? Some people talk about California, how this happens in California. Definitely does. It could be an inside job, okay? And again, that's generally what people are talking about, okay? But the question that I have that nobody's asking is the question I think should be asked, which is, why in the hell are college football players wearing expensive chains and jewelry to their football games? That's a serious question. Why are football players, whether you're a college player, pro player, high school player, why are football players wearing expensive chains and jewelry to football games? That's the question that has to be asked. Because football is not a game where I think that players should be wearing jewelry, right? It's not a rap video. It's not a photo shoot. It's not a party. You're not at a club. You're playing football. And when you're playing a game of football, I just don't think that it makes sense to wear jewelry. Now, some people may say, oh, I'm just hating. Oh, well, you don't understand. These kids are wearing the chains as a way to express themselves after the game. Or you're just victim blaming. You're blaming them for having their chains stolen. And I say, well, there's a difference between being a victim and just being stupid, right? Because I don't think there's any reason whatsoever for any football player, especially at the college level, to bring an expensive chain to a game and leave it in the locker room. Why? Especially considering how this is a football team that has not won anything, right? But yet, if you have paid attention to how they carried themselves throughout this whole year, right? With the flashiness, the cockiness, the arrogance. You would think they have won multiple national championships, right? This team was undefeated. When this team is very mediocre, they're an improvement over last year's team. But again, I don't understand how you get to a point where you're wearing chains on the field as if you've accomplished something, as if you've done something, right? You're bringing it to the locker room. You're bringing it to the game to flex as if you're in a rap video. And that's not what you're doing. You're playing football. And I'm sorry, I'm old school about this type of stuff, right? If you want to buy your chain, buy your chain. Do I think that it's a good use of money? No, I don't. These players are getting paid now. I get it. And I'm happy they're getting paid. I'm happy they're making money, right? But you're taking your money and instead of investing it wisely for the future, because who knows how long the future might last for some of these players. Football, your career is very short. I wouldn't spend my money on a chain, right? Let's hope that it doesn't depreciate in value. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But if you're going to buy the chain, why bring it to a game? Why? Leave it at home, because you're much less likely to get it stolen at home if you leave it at home in a safe somewhere than if you leave it in a locker room going to California. And again, I only can blame the players so much because the head coach of the team, again, I like Deion Sanders. I just don't think that he's instilling the right values in these boys. I really don't. I don't. And don't get me wrong, I like Deion Sanders. I'm wishing the best for him. However, I think that there's a difference between Deion Sanders as a player being flashy and arrogant and cocky because he was an elite player. He was on winning teams. He earned that right? He can do that. But when you're talking about trying to put that into the personality of a whole team that hasn't won anything, that hasn't earned anything, now it's just gotten to the point now where it's like, okay, I just don't think that these are the right values being instilled into young men, right? I think that good values in young men is being humble and understanding that, hey, we got to work to earn the right to be flashy and to, carry ourselves like we've won a national champion. We actually got to win. But that's not what happened. Deion Sanders, after the game, basically threw his offensive line under the bus and said, well, we got to get new players. And that may be true, right? That may be the reality of the situation, that you need to get new players. But as a coach, I don't think you come out and you say that to the media. As a coach, you take responsibility and you say, hey, we got to do a better job coaching. These are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old young men. And I think that it's something to be said when a coach comes out here and throws his young men under the bus, basically saying, well, we got to get rid of them, trade them away like Pokemon cards, right? Or, let them walk and, bring in better players, which again, it may be true. At the college football level, it's true, right? In the sense that, yeah, the better players that you get, the easier they're going to be to coach. But that's not, you don't say that out loud, though. You might think that in your head, but what you come out and say to the media is that, no, this is our fault. Coaches got to do better. We got to coach our guys up better. We have to make sure that our players are put in the best positions to perform to the best of their abilities. We have to continue to grow. But that's not what you're hearing. That's not what you're hearing. And the problem is that people are afraid to criticize Deion Sanders because everybody is now fanboying and hopping on the bandwagon and thinks that, well, he's uncriticizable, right? If you criticize him and you're not black, then you're racist, right? If you're black and you criticize him, then you hate to see black men be successful, or you hate black joy, or you hate to see black people, be flashy or to be unapologetically black. And it's like, no, it's none of that. What it actually really is that I have constructive criticism. I'm seeing things that I think aren't necessarily conducive to the development of these young men. I don't think it's a positive thing. And I think that it should be corrected. I think that there should be more criticism, because when you're flashy like that, when you're arrogant, when you walk the way that Colorado team was walking at the beginning of this year, when you was talking the way they talk, when you lose, they deserve all the criticism in the world, just like they got all the praise in the world when they were winning, right? That's how it works. And the lack of criticism is actually really going to hold back Deion Sanders as a coach, and it's going to hold back these players in regards to their development. Because again, they're getting paid. These young men are getting paid more money than they've ever seen in their lives, and they're wasting it on expensive jewelry, cars, clothes, drip, being flashy, when they really should be humbling themselves and investing their money, saving their money. Not going out here and making themselves targets by flashing their jewelry everywhere in front of fans' faces after they win games and crazy stuff like that. It's like, look, it's too much, right? At some point, somebody has to say, you got to humble yourself. And it's not just about playing the football, the game, because we've already seen how, that's come back around. Every team is giving them their A game now, right? Every team they play is playing Colorado like they're in the Super Bowl, right? Like they're in the national championship. And again, that's part of the reason why they're losing. But again, when you talk about situations like this, real life situations, the players have to be smarter than that. And it's not the players' fault. It actually falls on the coach, because the coach is not setting a good example for the players. The coach has to set the example and maybe put your chain up. Don't wear your chain on the sideline. Put it up, keep it home. Stop letting your son flash his Rolex in fans' faces on the field. Again, because all you're doing is you're making them a target. That's what you're doing. And actually get back to the basics. Get back to old school football and just focus on the game. When you actually win something, then you can flex and celebrate. But until you win something, you need to focus on the game. But again, what you're seeing here, some of these things that you're seeing from these players that are getting paid is the exact reason why a lot of people think that these players shouldn't get paid. What are they going to spend their money on? A bunch of nonsense, a bunch of crazy stuff, cars, shoes, jewelry, clothes, depreciating assets. Again, maybe not the jewelry so much, but who knows, right? I don't hear any of these players talking about, well, I invested my money in the stock market. I went and bought some real estate. I bought a business. I don't see any of them flexing that. So again, this is not hating, right? I'm not hating. I'm actually really trying to give constructive criticism, because I want to see Deion Sanders do well. I want to see his son do well. I want to see the football team do well. I'm cheering for them. I'm rooting for them. But it makes it very hard to root for them when you see this team doing things and engaging in behaviors that, again, should be called out and should be criticized, because these type of behaviors are exactly why a lot of people in the black community can't get ahead, because bad money habits, arrogance, feeling entitled. These type of behaviors and values are not good things that we should be celebrating and we should be embracing. And it should be called out when clearly this is not working, right? Clearly, this is something that is a problem for the Colorado football team. And even if Deion Sanders gets better players, I don't think that this is conductive to building a winning culture in the long run, because again, every team is going to go out there and try to humble this team. They're going to give this team their A game, and it's going to be really hard to consistently win games, right? Even when you have a good team. So, I mean, hey, that's just my humble opinion on it. People going to say I'm hating, blah, 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 but I'm actually not. I'm giving the same advice I would give to any young black person that just came into some money, right? Which is, hey, humble yourself. And don't be flashy. Don't make yourself a target. Be smart. Don't bring expensive jewelry to California, right? Basic stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.